Listen closely, for I am about to reveal something that will change everything you believe about yourself and your place in this world. There exists a secret that the truly magnetic understand, those who never beg, never chase, never diminish themselves for crumbs of attention. They know something you have forgotten. You see, my friend, you have been living as though you are a beggar in the marketplace of life, desperately holding out your cup, hoping someone will drop a coin of recognition into it. But what you fail to realize is that you are the marketplace. You are not the beggar, you are the treasure everyone seeks. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to awaken from this poverty consciousness and step into your true nature as the prize itself. But more than that, I'm going to show you the exact mental techniques that will transform you from someone who begs to be chosen into someone who chooses. For years, you have operated under a fundamental misunderstanding. You have believed that your worth is something external, something to be proven, earned, validated by others. This is the great lie that keeps you small. Let me tell you something that will shake you to your core. Every single person who has ever made you feel less was unconsciously reflecting back to you your own inner poverty. They sensed your need, your desperation, your hunger for validation, and instinctively, they withdrew. Not because they are cruel, but because neediness repels, while self-possession attracts. In your imagination, and remember, imagination is the creative power of God within you. You have seen yourself as lacking, as incomplete, as someone who needs another's approval to be whole. But I ask you, when you look in the mirror of your mind, do you see a beggar or a king? The truth is this: every person you encounter is simply a reflection of the state you occupy within yourself. When you assume the feeling of being chosen, of being valuable, of being someone whose very presence is a gift, the world mirrors this back to you without fail. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next will completely transform how you move through the world. There is an ancient secret that the mystics knew, that royalty understood instinctively, that the truly powerful have always embodied: the secret of self-possession. When you possess yourself completely, your emotions, your energy, your attention, you become a force that others naturally want to orbit around. Think of the most magnetic person you've ever encountered. I guarantee you, they had this quality. They weren't trying to impress anyone. They weren't performing for approval. They simply were, completely, authentically, unapologetically themselves. And in that authentic presence, they became irresistible. But here's what most people don't understand. This quality isn't something you're born with or without. It's a state of consciousness you can cultivate. It's a way of being you can learn. And once you master it, your entire life transforms. There is a state of consciousness, let's call it the state of inner royalty, that you must learn to inhabit. In this state, you do not question your worth any more than the sun questions its right to shine. You simply are. When you truly occupy this state, something remarkable happens. You stop performing for others' approval. You stop explaining yourself. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Instead, you move through life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their value is not up for debate. I have observed this phenomenon countless times. The person who needs nothing from others receives everything. The person who can walk away maintains all the power. The person who values their own company finds themselves surrounded by those who recognize quality. But here's what most people don't understand. This is not about becoming cold or distant. This is about becoming so full of your own divine nature that you overflow with genuine presence, not desperate need. Let me share with you a story that illustrates this perfectly. I once knew a woman who transformed her entire social circle simply by changing her inner state. She had been the one everyone called when they needed something. A shoulder to cry on, money to borrow, someone to listen to their problems. She was always available, always giving, always there. And yet she felt invisible. She felt taken for granted. She felt like an option, not a priority. Here's what she did that changed everything. And you can do this too. This woman decided to conduct an experiment for 40 days. Instead of assuming she was someone who needed to give to be valued, she began to assume she was someone whose very presence was valuable. Every morning she would spend 10 minutes imagining herself as someone who was naturally cherished, respected, and sought after. She didn't change her external behavior dramatically. She simply changed her inner assumption about herself. And within 2 weeks everything shifted. The people who had been taking her for granted began reaching out more intentionally. New people entered her life who treated her with the respect she had been giving herself internally. By the end of 40 days, her entire social reality had transformed. But here's the key. She didn't try to change others. She changed her concept of herself, and others responded to that change automatically. This is the power of assumption. This is the law of consciousness, made manifest. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you are a rare diamond. Now, does this diamond chase after people, begging them to recognize its brilliance? Does it diminish its sparkle to make cheaper stones feel better about themselves? Of course not. It simply exists in its perfect state, and those with eyes to see are naturally drawn to its beauty. This is what I call sacred detachment, the ability to love without clinging, to care without losing yourself, to desire without desperation. When you master this art, you become magnetic in a way that cannot be manufactured or faked. Sacred detachment is not indifference. It's not coldness. It's not playing hard to get. It's something far more profound. It's the recognition that your completeness doesn't depend on anyone else's participation in your life. When you are complete within yourself, others sense this wholeness and are drawn to it. They want to be part of something whole, rather than trying to fill someone's emptiness. But here's where most people go wrong. And if you're making this mistake, everything I've shared so far won't work. Many people, when they first hear about detachment, make a crucial error. They try to detach by building walls, by becoming cold, by pretending not to care. This is false detachment, and it actually pushes people away, not because of your power, but because of your fear. True detachment comes from love. Love of yourself, love of life, love of truth. It comes from being so full that you don't need to extract anything from others to feel complete. False detachment comes from hurt. Hurt that masquerades as strength. Pain that pretends to be power. The difference is this. True detachment attracts because it feels like freedom. False detachment repels because it feels like a prison. You see, many people confuse detachment with indifference. They think being unavailable means being cold or playing games. But true detachment comes from a place of fullness, not emptiness. It comes from loving yourself so completely that you no longer need to extract love from others to feel whole. When you truly love yourself, not in a narcissistic way, but in a divine way, recognizing yourself as a magnificent expression of the infinite, you create what I call a magnetic field of self-love. This field draws to you experiences and people that match your level of self-regard. Think of it this way. If you were a radio station, what frequency would you be broadcasting? Would it be the frequency of please love me, or would it be the frequency of I am love itself? The frequency you broadcast is the frequency you receive back. Most people are broadcasting need, lack, desperation, and then they wonder why they attract people who are unavailable, uncommitted, or disrespectful. But when you broadcast completeness, wholeness, self-love, you attract people who recognize and match that energy. Here's a practical technique I want you to master. Every morning, before you interact with anyone, I want you to tune into your inner frequency. Ask yourself, what am I broadcasting right now? Am I broadcasting need or wholeness? Am I broadcasting desperation or completion? If you sense that you're broadcasting from a place of lack, if you're hoping this day will bring you the validation you crave, if you're anxious about whether someone will text you back, if you're looking for others to fill the emptiness inside you, then stop. Don't go into the world broadcasting that frequency. Instead, spend time filling yourself up, not with external things, but with the recognition of your own divine nature. Feel what it's like to be completely loved by the universe itself. Feel what it's like to be someone whose very existence is precious and valuable. Only when you're broadcasting wholeness should you engage with others. This single shift will transform every interaction you have. Now I want you to understand something crucial about the nature of reality. Everything you experience in your outer world is a direct result of the assumptions you hold about yourself in your inner world. If you assume you are an option, the world will treat you as such. If you assume you are indispensable, that too will be reflected back to you. This is not positive thinking or wishful fantasy. This is spiritual law. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else is its projection. So I ask you, what have you been assuming about yourself? Have you been living in the assumption that you must prove your worth, that you must earn love, that you must compete for attention? If so, you have been creating from a state of lack, and lack is all that can be returned to you. But assumptions can be changed. And when you change your assumptions about yourself, you literally change your reality. What I'm about to tell you next might sound impossible, but I assure you, it's the most practical thing you'll ever learn. There are 3 sacred assumptions that will transform your life if you embody them completely. First, sacred assumption. I am inherently valuable, not because of what you do, not because of what you achieve, not because of who validates you. You are valuable because you exist. You are valuable because consciousness itself chose to express through you. This assumption must become as natural to you as breathing. Second sacred assumption. My presence is a gift. When you enter a room, you are not hoping to receive something. You are bringing something. Your energy, your consciousness, your unique perspective, these are gifts you bring to any interaction. Feel this truth until it becomes automatic. Third sacred assumption. I choose, I am not chosen. You are not at the mercy of others' decisions about you. You are not waiting to be picked. You are the one doing the selecting. You are the one deciding who gets access to your energy, your time, your presence. When these 3 assumptions become your natural state, everything changes. You stop being a seeker and become a selector. You stop being needy and become magnetic. Here's something I want you to try tonight. Before you sleep, I want you to revise your day, not just the events, but your entire relationship to yourself throughout those events. Remember that moment when you felt ignored. Revise it. See yourself as someone whose presence commanded attention, not through effort, but through natural magnetism. Remember when you felt like you were chasing. Revise it. See yourself as someone so centered in their own worth that others are drawn to orbit around your energy. But don't just revise the external events. Revise your internal state. Revise how you felt about yourself in those moments. Instead of feeling needy, feel complete. Instead of feeling desperate, feel centered. Instead of feeling like you're not enough, feel like you are more than enough. This is not self-deception. This is training your consciousness to occupy the state of the person you are meant to be. And as you persist in this assumption, your outer world must conform to match it. The person who knows they are valuable stops acting from scarcity. They stop overgiving. They stop tolerating disrespect. They stop being available to everyone and start being precious to the few who truly see them. And here's a secret that will accelerate your transformation. The secret of mental rehearsal. Before any important interaction, before a date, before a meeting, before any social situation, spend time mentally rehearsing from your new state. But don't rehearse what you'll say or do. Rehearse who you'll be. See yourself moving through that interaction as someone who knows their worth. Feel what it's like to be completely comfortable in your own skin. Imagine the other person responding to your energy of self-possession with respect and interest. This isn't about manipulating outcomes. This is about training yourself to naturally embody the state of someone who is valued and respected. And when you consistently embody that state, it becomes your reality. There is something deeply attractive about a person who possesses themselves completely. They do not leak their energy in desperate attempts to be seen. They do not scatter their attention among those who barely notice. Instead, they contain their power like a vessel holds water, full, complete, overflowing, only when they choose to pour. I have noticed that people are drawn to mystery, to depth, to that which cannot be easily grasped or controlled. When you become self-possessed, you naturally become mysterious. Not because you're trying to hide, but because you're no longer trying to expose everything about yourself to gain approval. Here's the paradox. that will change everything for you. The more you need to be chosen, the less likely you are to be chosen. The more you need to be seen, the more invisible you become. But the moment you withdraw your need from others and become complete within yourself, you become irresistible. This is because people are unconsciously drawn to wholeness. They can sense when someone is not trying to get something from them, and this absence of neediness creates space for genuine connection to emerge. Think about it this way. When someone is desperately trying to get something from you, your approval, your attention, your validation, how does it feel? It feels heavy, draining, uncomfortable. You instinctively want to pull away. But when someone is complete within themselves, when they're not trying to extract anything from you, when they're simply present and authentic, how does that feel? It feels refreshing, inspiring, magnetic. You want to be around that energy. This is the paradox. The less you need from others, the more they want to give to you. I want you to conduct what I call an energy audit of your life. Look at your relationships, your interactions, your daily habits, and ask yourself, am I giving my energy away freely, or am I being selective about how I invest it? Most people are energy spendthrifts. They give their attention to anyone who asks for it. They engage with every drama, respond to every demand, make themselves available to every person who shows even slight interest. And then they wonder why they feel drained and undervalued. But valuable things are scarce. If your energy is available to everyone, it becomes worthless. If your attention can be captured by anyone, it loses its power. If your presence is guaranteed regardless of how you're treated, it stops being precious. The energy audit will show you where you've been undervaluing yourself. Once you see this clearly, you can begin to make different choices. The next principle I'm going to share is so powerful, it can change your life in 24 hours. Here's a challenge that will immediately shift how others perceive you. For the next 24 hours, I want you to act as if you are already the most valued person in your own life. Not arrogantly, not rudely, but with quiet dignity. This means you don't explain your decisions to people who haven't earned that level of intimacy with you. You don't argue with anyone about your worth or try to convince them to see your value. You don't make yourself available to everyone who demands your attention. You don't settle for treatment that doesn't match your inner dignity. You speak to yourself with the same respect you would show to someone you deeply admire. For just 24 hours, live as if you already know you're valuable. See what happens. I guarantee you'll be surprised by how differently people respond to you. Here's something beautiful I want you to understand. You don't have to earn love. Love is your natural state. You are love expressing itself in human form. The only reason you feel unloved is because you have forgotten this truth and have been looking for it in all the wrong places. When you assume you are love, not that you need love, but that you are love, your entire energy shifts. You stop being a seeker and become a source. People feel this shift immediately. They are drawn to your energy because it feels like coming home to themselves. But this assumption must be cultivated. It must be practiced. It must become as natural as breathing. Every morning when you wake, and every evening before you sleep, I want you to do this practice. Close your eyes and assume you are completely loved by the universe itself. Not conditionally loved based on your behavior or achievements, but unconditionally loved simply because you exist. Feel this love surrounding you like warm sunlight. As you feel this universal love, begin to extend that same love to yourself. Love yourself the way the universe loves you, completely, unconditionally, without reservation. From this state of being filled with love, imagine moving through your day. See yourself interacting with others, not from a place of need, but from a place of overflow. You're not trying to get love from them because you're already full of love. Practice this faithfully for 30 days, and watch how your relationships transform. When you stop seeking love and start being love, everything changes. When you truly understand your worth, chasing becomes impossible. Not because you've decided not to chase, but because the very idea of chasing feels foreign to who you are. Lions don't chase mice. The sun doesn't chase the planets. They simply exist in their power, and everything else responds accordingly. This is the state I want you to reach, not through force or effort, but through recognition. Recognition that you have always been enough. Recognition that you have value is not dependent on anyone else's acknowledgement. Recognition that you are the prize, and the right people will be honored to receive you. But let me be clear about what I mean by not chasing. I don't mean becoming passive or uninvolved in life. I mean operating from a place of fullness rather than emptiness, from wholeness rather than need. When you're complete within yourself, you can pursue what you want without desperation. You can express interest without neediness. You can take action without attachment to outcomes. This is the difference between inspired action and desperate chasing. Remember this always. Everyone in your life is reflecting back to you the relationship you have with yourself. The person who takes you for granted, they're showing you where you take yourself for granted. The person who doesn't see your worth, they're reflecting back areas where you don't see your own worth. This principle is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because it means you can't blame others for how they treat you. They're only mirroring your inner state. Empowering because it means you have complete control over how you're treated. By changing your relationship with yourself. When someone disrespects you, instead of getting angry at them, ask yourself, where am I disrespecting myself? When someone ignores you, ask, where am I ignoring my own needs? When someone treats you as an option, ask, where am I treating myself as an option? This is why changing others is impossible, but changing yourself changes everything. When you truly value yourself, you will only attract and accept people who value you. When you truly love yourself, you will only engage with love. When you truly respect yourself, respect is all that will be offered to you. There is a state of consciousness where you feel complete within yourself. In this state, other people become bonuses to your life, not necessities. Relationships become choices, not needs. Love becomes an overflow, not a requirement. From this state of completion, you naturally become selective. Not because you're trying to be difficult, but because you can feel the difference between what nourishes you and what depletes you. You can sense who sees you clearly and who projects their fantasies onto you. This state of completion doesn't mean you don't desire connection with others. It means you don't need connection to feel whole. And paradoxically, this makes you much more attractive to others, because neediness repels while wholeness attracts. To cultivate this state, you must learn to be excellent company for yourself. You must enjoy your own thoughts, appreciate your own humor, find your own presence engaging. When you genuinely enjoy being alone with yourself, others will enjoy being with you too. As you begin to embody these truths, as you step into the state of knowing your worth, you will notice changes. Some people will fall away from your life. Those who were only there to consume your energy. Don't mourn their departure. Celebrate your freedom. Others will begin to treat you differently. They will seek your approval instead of you seeking theirs. They will compete for your attention instead of you fighting for recognition. They will value your time because you have shown them it's valuable. New people will enter your experience. People who match your new level of self-respect and self-love. These relationships will feel different, deeper, more authentic, because they're built on truth rather than need. But the most profound transformation will be internal. You'll stop waking up anxious about whether you're liked. You'll stop checking your phone desperately for validation. You'll stop analyzing every interaction for signs of approval or rejection. Instead, you'll wake up centered in your own worth. You'll move through your day from a place of fullness rather than emptiness. You'll engage with others from curiosity and care rather than need and desperation. This is your moment of choice. You can continue living as you have, seeking validation, chasing approval, diminishing yourself for crumbs of recognition, or you can step into the truth of who you really are. Someone so inherently valuable that your very existence is a gift to this world. The techniques I've shared are not theories to be pondered, but practices to be lived. Your transformation begins the moment you decide to see yourself as the universe sees you, as perfect, complete, and infinitely worthy of love. So I leave you with this. Stop asking to be chosen. Start choosing. Stop seeking to be seen. Start being so magnificently yourself that you cannot be ignored. The world has been waiting for you to remember who you are. Now go forth and claim your throne. It has been waiting for you all along.